administration. And if you'll give me just a short while, I'll tell you this. Make it brief, please. Yes, please. If you look at our constitution, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended, let me just take 3 subsections. Subsection 1 of section 7 creates local governments, 774 of them, preserves their existence, their integrity, and their autonomy. That's section 7.1. Section 1.1 of the Constitution says this Constitution is supreme and its provisions shall have binding force on all authorities and persons throughout the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is the Fons et Origo, is the source from which all laws flow. Section 1.2 says no part of Nigeria or all of it can be taken control of politically or any other how outside the provisions of this Constitution. Tell me today, how many local governments is there of the government of the Federation created by the Constitution? How many of them can say they are a tier of government today? And this is because the governors have refused to let the Constitution be as it is. Will we blame that on restructuring? Can we blame that on restructuring?
What can we do about that?
Now, what we can do is, if you ask me, if we want to restructure Nigeria, we are talking about 2 things, restructuring and devolution of powers. They are saying devolve more powers to the state. And I think that if you want to devolve more powers to the states, you must first find the means to properly appropriate the powers that presently reside in the states. And that power in the states today resides exclusively in the hands of the governors. You devolve more powers to the states today, look, only 36 persons will benefit from that devolution. And that will be their imperial majesties, the executive government.
This constitution, I think it talks about the provision of things, all of that done in the local government,
yes,
roads and all of that.
Yes.
It does not.
No, I'm not even talking about that. For you to provide those things, the local government first has to exist. Now let's look at this. Assuming that the big brother role or the big boss role that the governors are playing when you factor in the local governments, assuming that the president wanted to play such a role, so that before a gubernatorial election, the president dissolves your state ESCO, removes the governor, sets up a caretaker committee to conduct the election, how many states will accept for that to happen? But that is what is going on in the states. Are we going to blame that on the Constitution? So it's about us. And if we must begin to think through what is going on in our country, we must begin to think about what do we do to hold power accountable to the people. When I was out there, I listened to Prof. He made a submission and said, look, government exists for the good of the people. Prof, I agree with you totally, except that you maybe inadvertently omitted one small word, and that word is a 3-letter word. All the people. Yeah. Because the governors will argue with you, they are the people of Nigeria. The president will also succeed in such an argument. The ministers will. They are the people. But the point is, are they all the people? And the answer is no. So if we want our government to become accountable and useful so that our nation can begin the growth process, because as it is, I don't see any reason why we should say that there should be a difference between political talk and national discourse. They ought to be one and the same thing, because whatever you are talking about in politics that is not focused on the national discourse to get Nigeria off the ground, you are simply not talking anything that we should listen to.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Ebe. But we need to begin to wind down, so I'm thinking whether we should end with Prof. But
yes, but we have a comment here from Bamidele Kingsley, who says, the nations that make up the Nigerian state must be given the freedom to rule themselves according to their tenets. The forceful marriage between the rich, enlightened South as wife and the poor, uneducated North as husband has proven to be a fraud and rape of the people. God bless Nigeria.
Are we expected to comment on that?
Yes and no. Yes. The North started from a level that is very different from that of the South.